The sliding glass doors of the small neighborhood grocery store hissed open, letting in a gust of late afternoon heat. Tasha pushed the metal cart forward, one hand gripping the handle, the other gently resting on the shoulder of her 7-year-old daughter, Layla. The girl clutched a faded stuffed bunny against her chest and looked up at her mother with big, tired eyes. "Are we really gonna get cereal this time?" Layla whispered, her voice filled with fragile hope. "If the coupons go through." "Ugh, baby," Tasha said softly, trying to sound confident though her stomach was in knots. "I checked them twice last night. They should be fine." The store was crowded, humming with chatter and the beeping of scanners. Tasha maneuvered through the aisles, picking up only the basics: a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, a pack of chicken thighs, 2 cans of beans, a box of cereal. Her cart looked so modest compared to others piled high with colorful bags and shiny boxes. She felt the eyes of strangers sometimes, glancing at her faded jeans and the loose t-shirt with a coffee stain she couldn't get out. But she'd long ago learned to keep her chin up, to keep moving. At the register, she chose lane 3 because it was the shortest. The cashier, a young man with a buzz cut and a name tag that read Lewis, was half leaning on the counter, scrolling something on his phone. He barely looked up as Tasha started placing her items on the belt. Layla stood close, eyes darting nervously around These star. She hated when people stared at her mom like that. "Evening," Tasha said, polite but tired. Lewis grunted without meeting her gaze. He began scanning the items with rapid, bored movements. Beef, beef, beef. When the last item slid down, Tasha took a breath and reached into her worn purse, pulling out a neat stack of printed coupons clipped together with a rusty paperclip. She handed them over carefully. "I'd like to use these, please." Lewis took them, thumbed through lazily. Then he stopped, squinted at the dates, and frowned. "These are no good," he said flatly. Tasha's heart skipped. "Excuse me?" "They're expired," he said louder, tossing them back on the counter. "You can't use these." She blinked hard, reaching for the top one. "No, I checked, these are still valid." The date. Lewis shoved the coupons back toward her, the paper brushing against her fingers harshly. "Lady, don't try to play me. These are fake. Look at this stamp. You think I don't know?" The people in line behind Tasha went quiet. Layla froze, clutching her bunny tighter. Tasha felt heat creep up her neck. "They are not fake," she said, her voice trembling. "I printed them from the official site." Lewis laughed, a sharp bark of sound. "Yeah, right. You people always trying to cheat the system. You think we're stupid? You think just cause you're broke you can steal food?" Tasha's chest tightened. "Excuse me?" she whispered. Lewis's voice rose, hard and mocking. "You heard me. Look at you, coming in here with your kid, trying to pass off fake coupons. What, you can't pay like normal people?" "Zidiers." Layla's lip trembled. "Mama," she whispered. Tasha felt the sting in her eyes, the humiliation burning through her. The murmurs behind her grew louder. She could feel the stares now, judgmental, curious, entertained. "Please," she said quietly, forcing her voice to stay calm. "There's no need to talk to me like that. Just scan them again." Lewis snorted, shoving the coupons aside. With the back of his hand, "Get out of here, lady. I ain't risking my job for some ghetto scam. Pay up or put it back." The words hit like slaps. "Ghetto." Her jaw clenched. She fumbled for her debit card, knowing there wasn't enough on it, knowing this would mean going without dinner later in the week. But before she could pull it out, Lewis leaned in, his face twisted with disdain. "You should be ashamed, trying to steal in front of your little brat. Guess that's what they teach you people." A wave of blood roared in Tasha's ears. She felt herself shake not just from anger, but from years of swallowing words, of being talked down to, of holding back because Layla was watching. But Layla was watching, and Tasha saw her daughter's wide eyes, the tears forming, the shame that wasn't hers to carry. "Don't talk about my child," Tasha said, her voice slow and dangerous. Lewis smirked, enjoying the reaction. "Or what? You gonna throw another fake coupon at me? Maybe cry and play the victim out." That was it. Something in Tasha snapped, clean and sudden. The cart rattled as she shoved it aside. "You don't get to talk to me like that," she said, stepping closer. Her hands trembled but she kept moving. Lewis straightened, surprised. "Back off, lady. You don't get to talk to me or my baby like that." Her voice rose, echoing through the checkout area. Heads turned. Lewis laughed again, louder now, as if to show off for the onlookers. "Oh, so you do know how to raise your voice." "Figures." Before he could finish, Tasha's hand came down on the counter with a crack, shaking the plastic divider. "Shut your mouth!" she screamed, the words raw and jagged. Her heart pounded like thunder. Layla gasped behind her. Lewis's smile vanished. "Hey, don't you?" He reached out, maybe to push the coupons back at her again, maybe to shove her cart away, but Tasha caught his wrist mid-motion. Her grip was iron. "I said don't you touch my things." "Ma'am, please," someone behind her whispered, but it was too late. Lewis yanked his arm back, the coupons scattering like confetti. "Crazy bitch," he shouted. "Security." The tension snapped like a cable. Tasha lunged forward, both hands on the edge of the counter, her voice shaking as she shouted back, "You think you can talk to people like that? You think I'm just gonna take it?" Louis shoved at her cart, sending the milk jug rolling onto the floor. Tasha swung an arm, knocking over the little stand of candy bars. The two were outing over each other now, the words blurred with fury, until Louis stepped around the counter and got too close. Tasha's palm flew, a sharp, loud crack across his cheek. Gasps erupted from the line. Louis staggered, grabbed her shoulder, and then they were grappling, milk spreading in a white puddle, Layla screaming, and strangers pulling out their phones to record. The shouting echoed through the store like an alarm. Tasha felt someone's hands on her arms, pulling, trying to separate her from Louis, but she thrashed instinctively, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Her daughter's high-pitched cries pierced through the chaos. Stop, please!" Layla's voice cracked, and that sound cut deeper than anything else. Louis, red-faced and furious, wiped the corner of his mouth where her slap had left a sting. "Security! Get this crazy woman out of here!" he bellowed, pointing at Tasha as though she were some dangerous criminal. Two uniformed security guards came rushing from the back of the store, radios crackling. One was tall and heavy-set, the other lean with quick movements. Customers had stepped aside, some whispering, others holding up their phones, recording every second. A few muttered under their breath, some sympathetic, others judgmental. "Ma'am, calm down," the heavy-set guard barked, grabbing Tasha by the elbow. "She attacked me," Louis shouted. "She tried to steal and then hit me." "That's a lie," Tasha spat, still shaking with adrenaline. "He called me names, he said things about me and my baby, he shoved my stuff." But no one seemed to hear her. The lean guard moved between her and Louis, pushing her back toward the checkout counter as if she were the sole aggressor. Louis was already milking the scene, holding his cheek, shouting to the growing crowd, "I could have been hurt. She's out of control." Tasha's vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. The shame and anger mixed into something electric in her veins. She looked down and saw Layla crouch, deep behind the cart, her little shoulders shaking, her stuffed bunny clutched so tight it looked painful. "Layla, baby, it's okay," Tasha called, trying to soften her voice. But the words sounded thin, broken. "Ma'am," the heavy-set guard said again, twisting her arm just enough to make her wince. "You need to come with us." "No," Tasha said, jerking back. "I didn't do anything wrong. He insulted me. He accused me of stealing." Louis cut her off with another taunt, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Yeah, keep playing the victim, lady. You people always think the world owes you something." The words hit like ice water, and Tasha lunged again before she could stop herself. The guard shoved between them, holding her back as her hands clawed the air, reaching for a man who smirked at her pain. One of the guards hissed into his radio, "We need backup at the front. Possible assault." The customers were openly filming now. A woman in yoga pants muttered, "Unbelievable." A man with a baseball cap whispered, "They're gonna call the cops." Tasha's stomach dropped. The cops. A memory flashed 2 years ago. Her brother pulled over for a broken taillight, and the way he never came back home. The thought of police made her chest constrict. She wasn't sure what was more terrifying, losing her freedom or the look on Layla's face if she got taken away. "Please," Tasha said, her voice breaking, her fury collapsing into fear. "I just wanted to buy food. He called me names, he said." "Nobody cares what I said," Louis sneered, brushing his uniform shirt as if shaking off her touch. "All I see is you attacking me." The manager arrived then, a short woman in a blue vest with a name tag reading Marla. She took in the scattered coupons, the puddle of milk, the overturned candy bars, and her face hardened. "What is going on here?" "She assaulted me," Louis said instantly, pointing at Tasha like a child tattling on a playground. "I told her the coupons were expired, and she went crass." "Why, that's not true!" Tasha cried, voice hoarse. "He insulted me. He said he called me." Her words stumbled as her throat closed. The guards were still gripping her arms. Marla frowned at the scene, clearly irritated more than anything else. "We can't have this kind of disruption in the store. Call the police." "No," Layla screamed suddenly, darting from behind the cart and grabbing onto her mother's leg. "Don't take my mama. Please, please don't." The sound made the crowd shift uncomfortably. Even the heavy-set guard hesitated. Tasha dropped to her knees, despite their grip, and wrapped her arms around her daughter. "It's okay, baby, it's okay," she whispered into Layla's hair, though nothing was okay. Marla crossed her arms. "Ma'am, you need to leave." "Now." "I'll leave," Tasha said quickly, desperate to de-escalate. "Just let me go." "I didn't steal anything, I didn't," Louis laughed, cutting her off. "Oh, you're leaving, all right." Straight into a squad car. Something in Tasha's chest cracked. She looked up at him, her eyes red, her face streaked with tears she hadn't noticed. "What?" she whispered. "Why do you hate me? You don't even know me." Louis snorted. "I don't need to." The guard started pulling her toward the doors. Layla was crying so hard she could barely breathe. Tasha struggled to hold on to keep her child close. Please, she begged, looking at Marla. Please, I have a kid. I can't. Marla's eyes softened just slightly. Let her go, she said quietly. To the guards. Just get them out of here. Louis gaped. What? She hit me. Louis, Marla snapped. Enough. The guards released Tasha reluctantly. She stumbled, catching herself with one hand on the cart, then scooped Layla into her arms. The little girl buried her face in Tasha's shoulder, sobbing. Go, Marla said, pointing toward the doors. Before I change my mind. Tasha didn't hesitate. She grabbed the milk, the bread, whatever hadn't been scanned, and shoved them back onto the count. Then she pushed the cart away from the lane, keeping Layla clutched to her hip. The crowd parted as she passed, some still filming, others whispering. Louis shouted after her, his voice venomous. Yeah, run? That's all you're good at. Tasha didn't look back. She pushed through the sliding doors into the heavy evening air. The parking lot smelled like hot asphalt and fried food from the taco truck across the street. Her chest hurt. Her arms ached from holding Layla, but she couldn't let go. Not yet. They reached the old dented sedan she drove, the paint chipping on the hood. She set Layla gently in the passenger seat, brushing the girl's damp curls from her face. Baby, look at me, she whispered. Layla's eyes were red and swollen. Mom, are they gonna take you away? No, baby, Tasha said, though the quiver in her voice betrayed her. I'm here. I'm right here. Her hands shook as she fumbled with the keys, sliding into the driver's seat. The adrenaline was fading, leaving on exhaustion and terror in its wake. She started the car and pulled out of the lot, Louis's shouts still ringing in her ears. As they drove down the darkening street, Tasha felt the weight of what had just happened settle over her like a storm cloud. The world outside blurred, neon lights and passing cars streaking together. Her mind raced about the store, about the witnesses, about the police reports that might come, about how close she'd come to losing everything in front of her daughter. Illa sniffled beside her. Mom, I was scared. Tasha gripped the steering wheel so tight her knuckles ached. Me too, baby, she said softly. Me too. The old sedan rattled as Tasha turned onto their street, a row of tired apartment buildings lit by flickering street lamps. The night was warm, the kind that carried the distant hum of traffic and the occasional shout from kids playing basketball in the parking lot. Tasha pulled into a spot, killed the engine, and sat for a moment with her hand as still on the wheel. Layla had fallen silent in the passenger seat, staring at her bunny's worn ears as if the soft fabric could explain why the world had just turned so cruel. You okay? Tasha asked gently, turning to face her daughter. Layla didn't answer at first. Then, in a small voice, she said, Why was he so mean to you? Tasha's chest tightened. Some people are just mean, baby. It doesn't make sense. Did you really do something bad? No, Tasha whispered, shaking her head. Was just trying to pay for our food. That's all. Layla's eyes glistened. Then why did he call you those names? Why did he look at me like that? Tasha swallowed hard. She wanted to protect her daughter from the truth for as long as she could, but tonight had ripped away another layer of innocence. Sometimes, she said carefully, people see someone like me, someone with skin like ours, and they think they can say anything. They think we don't matter. Layla frowned, looking down. But we do. Oh, matter. Tasha reached across the console and brushed a tear from her daughter's cheek. Yes, baby. Weezo. Don't you ever forget that. They sat in silence for a long moment, the sounds of the city buzzing outside. Finally, Tasha forced herself to move. Come on, she said softly. Let's go inside. Their apartment was on the second floor, small and cramped but clean. The living room was a patchwork of thrift store furniture and family photos tacked to the walls. Tasha flipped on the light, and the old lamp hummed to life, casting a warm glow over the beige carpet. Go wash your face, sweetie, she said, setting her purse down. I'll make us some dinner. Layla shuffled toward the bathroom, clutching her bunny. Tasha moved to the kitchen and opened the fridge. The shelves were sparse, half a stick of butter, some leftover rice, a carton of eggs. She had hoped those coupons would stretch her food budget another week. Now she had to improvise. She cracked 3 eggs into a bowl and Dee started whisking, her hands still trembling. Images from the store flashed through her mind. Louisa's sneer, the grip of the guard on her arm, Layla's terrified face. Her throat tightened, and she gripped the counter until her knuckles turned white. Get it together, she whispered to herself. You can't fall apart now. The sound of running water stopped, and Layla padded back into the kitchen, her eyes still puffy but calmer. She climbed onto one of the stools and watched her mother cook. Mama, she said softly, are they gonna come here? Tasha's hand froze over the skillet. The police. Layla's voice trembled. Are they gonna come and take you away? Tasha set the bowl down and crouched in front of her daughter, taking both of her small hands in hers. Listen to me, baby. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I promise you, no matter what, I'm gonna protect you. I'm not going anywhere without a fight. Layla nodded slowly, her eyes searching her mother's face. Spurt. I know. Tasha kissed her forehead. Me too. But we're together. That's what matters. They ate dinner quietly, the scrambled eggs and toast filling but tasteless. Afterward, Tasha helped Layla brush her teeth and tucked her into bed. The little girl clung to her bunny and whispered, "Don't go, Mama," before drifting into a fitful sleep. Tasha sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, stroking her daughter's hair. When Layla's breathing evened out, she rose and went back to the living room. The weight of the evening pressed on her like a physical force. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. A notification popped up. Viral video. Woman attacks grocery clerk. The thumbnail froze her in place, her own face twisted in anger mid-shout with Lewis recoiling. Someone in that crowd had posted the video. Tasha's stomach dropped. She tapped the screen with trembling fingers. The video played shaky footage of the fight, captions added by some stranger. Lady loses it over fake coupons. Watch till the end. The comments scrolled fast. Wow, these people never stop. She should be locked up. Look at the poor kid. Said, that clerk had it coming. Don't mess with mamas. A few supportive voices, but most were cruel. Tasha felt exposed, like the walls of her home had vanished. Anyone could see her face. Anyone could call the police. She turned off the phone, pressing it face down on the table, and buried her face in her hands. A sob rose in her throat, but she bit it back, shaking her head. No, not in front of Layla. Not tonight. She forced herself to breathe. One breath, then another. Then she stood and went to the window, peeking through the thin curtain at the dark street below. A police cruiser passed slowly, its headlights sweeping across the parked cars, but it kept going. Tasha sank onto the couch, her mind racing. She needed a plan. If charges were pressed, she'd need a lawyer. She couldn't afford one. She thought about the food stamps renewal office, about the stack of bills on the kitchen counter. Her chest felt tight, but beneath the fear, a spark of anger burned hotter. I won't let him do this to us. She picked up her phone again, scrolling through her contacts. Her mother was back in Louisiana, barely making ends meet. Her cousin Maya had a friend who worked at a legal aid clinic downtown. Maybe they could help. Tasha typed out a quick message. Maya, I need help. Something happened at the store. They might call the cops. You call me? She hit send and set the phone aside, rubbing her eyes. Exhaustion dragged at her, but sleep felt impossible. Instead, she sat there in the dim light, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and Layla's faint breathing down the hall. Hours passed. Her phone buzzed again, a reply from Maya. OMG, what happened? Call me now. Tasha grabbed the phone, stepping into the hallway so she wouldn't wake Layla. Her voice shook as she whispered, Maya. I think I'm in trouble. Maya's voice on the other end was groggy but urgent. Girl, what's going on? I saw your message and wait, are you crying? Tasha pressed her forehead against the cool wall, trying to steady her breathing. I don't even know where to start. I went to the grocery store with Layla. I tried to pay with coupons, real ones, Maya, I swear, and this cashier, he started yelling at me. Said I was faking them. Called me names, right there in front of my baby. Oh my god, Maya's voice sharpened. Fully awake now. What kind of names? Tasha hesitated, her voice catching. The kind you don't say in front of a child. He said we were trying to cheat. He said you people. A long pause. And then what? I snapped. Tasha's throat felt raw as she whispered the words. I couldn't take it anymore. We started yelling. He shoved my stuff. I slapped him, Maya. I hit him. They called security. Everybody was filming. Oh, Tasha. Maya let out a heavy breath. That's not good. But listen, you're not the first person to lose it under pressure like that. Did the police come? No. The manager told them to let me go. But the video's online. It's everywhere. People are saying I attacked him, that I'm stealing. Okay, stop. Stop right there. Maya's tone shifted into something firm, the voice she used when she meant business. Listen to me. You did nothing wrong by defending yourself. That man humiliated you, and they're twisting it. But you can't sit around waiting for them to sh. You need to protect yourself. Tasha closed her eyes, fighting back fresh tears. I don't have money for lawyers. I barely have money for groceries. I got you, Maya said quickly. There's a place downtown, free legal aid. My friend Yvette works there. She owes me a favor. I'll call her in the morning and explain everything. You keep your phone close. Tasha's chest ached with gratitude. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're not alone, Tash. I know it feels like the world's against you, but I got your back. Now get some sleep, okay? Hug that little girl of yours. Tomorrow we figure this out. When the call ended, Tasha stood in the dark hallway, the quiet pressing in. She felt a flicker of relief, small, but enough to keep her going. She returned to the living room, sank onto the couch, and finally allowed herself to cry silently, shoulders shaking, until exhaustion claimed her. Morning crept in through the blinds, streaks of pale sunlight falling across the worn cop. Our pet. Tasha woke with a start, stiff from sleeping on the couch. For a moment she forgot, then the memories crashed back. Her chest tightened. She showered quickly, dressed in clean jeans and a simple blouse, then woke Layla with a gentle touch. Hey, baby girl, time to get up. Layla rubbed her eyes. I don't want to go to school. I know. Tasha knelt by the bed, but we have to keep going. That's what we do, okay? We keep going. Layla nodded reluctantly, pulling on her backpack. Tasha get her a small lunch, half a peanut butter sandwich, an apple. She kissed her on the forehead before they stepped out into the morning air. At the school drop-off, Tasha crouched by the car door. Be good today. I'll pick you up right after. Layla hesitated. Will you be here when I get out? Tasha felt her heart squeeze. Of course I will. She forced a smile. Now go on. Be brave. Back at home, Tasha's phone rang. Maya's name lit up the screen. She's ready to talk to you, Maya said. I'm putting you on three-way with Yvette. She's one of the best. Another voice joined the line, smooth, calm, professional. Hi Tasha, I'm Yvette. Maya told me what happened. Are you safe right now? Yes, Tasha said softly. I'm at home. But first things first, no one's come by? No calls from the police? Not yet. All right. Here's what you need to know. That video is evidence, but so are witnesses, and so is your testimony. Did anyone in line speak up for you? I don't know. He all happened so fast. That's okay, Yvette said. Listen, if the store files a police report, they'll contact you. Until then, don't go back there. Keep any receipts or records showing you had those coupons legitimately. And do not respond to comments online. Do not share your side on social media. Anything you say could be used against you. Tasha swallowed hard. I don't even know if I can find those receipts. The coupons were printed. Then think of anything else. Screenshots of the website, emails, anything. And if they do call you in, ask for a public defender or call me. I'll do what I can. You do that? Tasha whispered, overwhelmed. Yes, Yvette said simply. Maya's family to me. That makes you family too. Tasha closed her eyes, gripping the phone like a lifeline. Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're gonna get through this, Yvette assured her. Now rest. And call me if anything happens. Hours dragged by. Tasha cleaned the apartment just to keep busy, folding laundry that didn't need folding, scrubbing the already clean counters. Every sound outside made her flinch. A car door slammed, and she froze at the window, expecting flashing lights. But nothing came. Her phone buzzed again, this time a text from an unknown number. We saw what you did. You think you can get away with that? Watch your back. Tasha's stomach turned to ice. She stared at the message, fingers hovering over the screen. Should she tell Maya? Yvette, her first instinct was to delete it, pretend it didn't exist. But her second instinct, the one forged from years of surviving, said to document everything. She took a screenshot, saved it, and forwarded it to Maya with a single word, threats. Maya replied instantly, don't answer. Stay home. I'll tell Yvette. Tasha set the phone down, her heart pounding. The world outside their little apartment felt suddenly hostile, dangerous. She walked to Layla's room and stood in the doorway, watching her Earth's drawings taped to the wall, rainbows, stick figures, hearts. She thought of the way Layla had clung to her last night. I'm not gonna let them break us, Tasha whispered to the empty room. When she went to pick up Layla that afternoon, she noticed the stares from other parents. A woman in a tailored blazer whispered to another mom, eyes flicking toward Tasha. Her cheeks burned, but she kept walking, head high. Layla ran to her, relief flooding her face. You're here. Of course I am. Asha said, hugging her tight. As they walked back to the car, a voice called out behind her, hey, you that woman from the video? Tasha froze, Layla gripping her hand. A teenage boy in a hoodie stood by the school fence, phone in hand, recording her. Yo, say something for the camera. You crazy lady. Tasha's pulse quickened. She turned away, shielding Layla with her body, and hurried to the car. The boy laughed, shouting after her, gonna be famous, huh? She slammed the car door shut. Stop. Arted the engine with shaking hands and pulled away, Layla silent in the back seat. Back home, she locked the door, drew the curtains, and sat at the kitchen table. She could feel Layla watching her, sensing the tension. Layla said softly, why are they so mean? Tasha looked at her little girl, so small, so brave, and felt the fire inside her burn brighter. Because sometimes, baby, she said, voice steady, people don't want to see someone like us stand up for ourselves. But that doesn't mean we stop. Layla tilted her head. What do we do now? Tasha took her daughter's hand. We fight smart, she said. We stay strong, and we don't let them scare us. That night, after Layla had finally drifted into a restless sleep, Tasha sat at the kitchen table staring at the flickering light above. A stack of unpaid bills lay in front of her, edges curling, numbers swimming in her tired eyes. Outside, the hum of traffic faded into the distance. She thought of Lewis's face, the way his Words had cut her open in front of everyone. The rage was still there, but it had cooled into something sharper, a resolve. Her phone vibrated. A new message from Maya. Yvette says to write everything down. A timeline. Every detail. Even small things. It helps. Tasha grabbed a spiral notebook from the counter and sat down with a pen. She wrote, Thursday, 5:45 p.m., grocery store. Tried to pay with coupons. Lewis said they were fake. Called me you people. Humiliated me in front of Layla. Asked him to stop. He kept insulting me. He said I was trying to cheat, said things about my daughter. I slapped him after he shoved my things. Security came. Manager told them to let me go. Video is online now. Threat message received at 10:15 a.m. Friday. Her handwriting grew messy as tears blurred her vision, but she kept going, forcing herself to record everything. When she was done, she closed the notebook and hugged it to her chest as if the pages themselves could protect her. The next morning, Tasha tried to maintain a routine for Layla's sake. She braided her daughter's hair, made oatmeal with a little cinnamon, and forced a smile she didn't feel. You're so pretty, Tasha said, tying the last braid with a rubber band. Layla grinned faintly. I look like you now. That made Tasha's chest ache with a bittersweet pride. Yes, baby, you do. After dropping Layla at school, she headed downtown to meet Yvette. The legal aid office was tucked into an old brick building with peeling paint and a buzzing fluorescent sign. Inside, the waiting room smelled faintly of coffee and old paper. A receptionist nodded her toward a back office. Yvette stood to greet her, a tall black woman in her 40s, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Tasha, hi. Come in. Sit down. Tasha sat, clutching her purse. Thank you for seeing me. Of course. Yvette opened a file folder. I watched the video. It's upsetting, but I've seen worse. Legally, you're not in the clear yet, but we can get ahead of this. Tasha leaned forward. What do I do? First, Yvette said calmly, we need to preserve evidence. I'll print that video and all the comments. Do you have those coupons still? Tasha shook her head. They scattered. Some were on the floor. I don't know. That's okay. We'll show you intended to pay. Do you have a bank statement? Anything showing your situation isn't fraudulent? I have some pay stubs from my cleaning job. Bring those. And anyone who saw what happened, if you remember faces, descriptions, write them down. Tasha nodded quickly, desperate to do something, anything. Yvette softened her tone. Tasha, I know this is terrifying, but you didn't plan to hurt anyone. You reacted under stress. That context matters. Tasha's voice trembled. They're treating me like some kind of monster. People online, they're saying I'm trash. Yvette's eyes sharpened. Let them talk. They don't get to decide who you are. A lump rose in Tasha's throat. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Yvette slid a tissue box across the desk. By the time Tasha left the office, she felt steadier. The air outside was brisk, the sun high, but she still kept her head low as she walked. A man across the street squinted at her, then pulled out his phone, and she quickened her pace. Back home, she sat with Layla's drawings spread on the table. Little suns and stick figures with huge smiles. She wanted so badly to keep that world intact for her daughter. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Tasha Williams? A male voice asked. Yes, this is Officer McIntyre with the City Police Department. We received a report of an altercation at a grocery store 2 days ago. I'd like to ask you some questions. Tasha's breath caught. She glanced instinctively toward Layla's empty chair, as if her daughter could protect her. Okay. Can you tell me what this is about? It's just routine, McIntyre said. The clerk, Luis Ramirez, filed a statement. He claims you struck him and attempted to use counterfeit coupons. Can you come down to the station tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Tasha's pulse thudded in her ears. Do I need a lawyer? That's your right, the officer replied, his tone neutral. You can bring one if you want. She forced her voice steady. I'll be there. When she hung up, her hands were shaking so badly she nearly dropped the phone. She immediately called Yvette, who picked up on the first ring. Tomorrow morning, Tasha blurted. The police want me there. Good, Yvette said calmly. We'll go together. Do not go alone. And remember, you don't have to say anything without me there. Tasha nodded even though Yvette couldn't see her. After the call, she sat at the table, staring at her trembling hands. Then she stood, went to Layla's room, and crouched by her daughter's bed as she colored quietly. Layla asked, glancing up. Are you okay? Tasha smoothed her little girl's hair. I'm going to talk to some people tomorrow about what happened. But I want you to know something. Layla tilted her head. No matter what they say about me, you know who I am, right? Layla thought for a moment, then nodded. You're my mama. You're the best mama. Tasha felt the tears spill over, but she smiled through them. That's right, baby. And don't you ever forget it. That evening, Maya came over with takeout fried chicken, collard greens, mashed potatoes. The smell filled the small apartment, bringing a fragile sense of normalcy. You sure you're ready for tomorrow? Maya asked, handing Tasha a plate. No, Tasha admitted, managing a weak laugh. But I'm going. You're stronger than you think, Maya said, squeezing her shoulder. And you're not alone. After dinner, they sat together on the couch, watching Layla play with her bunny. For the first time in days, Tasha felt the tiniest flicker of hope, small, fragile, but there. She leaned back, letting out a long breath. Tomorrow's gonna be hell, isn't it? Maya shook her head. Tomorrow's gonna be a step forward. You'll see. Tasha closed her eyes, holding onto that thought like a lifeline as the night stretched on. The morning of the interview dawned gray and cold, as if the weather itself knew what kind of day it would be. Tasha woke early, long before her alarm, her stomach a tight knot. She lay still for a while, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet sound. DS of Layla breathing in the next room. You can do this. She repeated it in her mind like a mantra. You have to. By 7, she was already dressed in her best blouse and slacks, both a little worn but clean. She braided her hair neatly, applied a touch of lip balm, and stared at herself in the cracked bathroom mirror. Her eyes looked older than 30, but there was a steadiness there, too. Layla padded into the kitchen in her pajamas, clutching her bunny. You're up early. Tasha crouped, head down, tucking a loose curl behind her daughter's ear. I have to go talk to some people about the store, remember? Auntie Maya's gonna pick you up from school today. Layla's eyes went wide. Will they be mean to you? Tasha swallowed the lump in her throat. I don't know, but I'll have someone with me, someone who knows how to help. Layla hugged her tightly. Don't let them take you, Mama. I won't, baby. Tasha kissed the top of her head and held on for a long time. I will be back, before you know it. By 9:30, Tasha stood outside the city police station. The brick building loomed over her, its tall windows catching the weak sunlight. She felt small, exposed. People walked in and out, some in uniforms, others looking as anxious as she felt. A car pulled up to the curb. Yvette stepped out, carrying a leather folder, her presence calm and commanding. Ready? She asked, gently. No, Tasha admitted, her voice shaking. But I'm here. That's enough, Yvette said, touching her arm briefly. Let's go inside. The station smelled of disinfectant and old coffee. A young officer at the front desk barely looked up as Yvette stated their purpose. Have a seat, he muttered, gesturing to a row of plastic chairs. Tasha sat, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles ached. She watched a mother with a toddler filling out paperwork, a man in cuffs being led down a hallway. Her pulse thudded in her ears. After what felt like an hour but was only 15 minutes, a door opened and a tall man in a brown uniform stepped out. Us, Williams. Tasha stood, legs unsteady. Yvette rose beside her, straightening her jacket. The officer led them to a small, windowless room with a metal table and 2 chairs. A camera was mounted in the corner. Please have a seat, he said, sitting down across from them. Tasha sat, Yvette beside her. The officer opened a file. I'm Officer McIntyre. As I mentioned on the phone, we're reviewing an incident at Martin's grocery 2 nights ago. This is being recorded. You're not under arrest, but I need to ask you some questions. Tasha nodded, her throat dry. Yvette spoke first, her tone measured. Officer, MS. Williams is willing to cooperate, but I'll be advising her. Of course, McIntyre said, adjusting his pen. Now, MS. Williams, can you tell me in your own words what happened? Tasha took a deep breath, forcing herself to meet his eyes. I went to the store with my daughter. I had coupons, and I tried to use them. The cashier said they were expired. I said I didn't know. Then he started accusing me. He said I was trying to cheat. He called me things. Ugly things. McIntyre scribbled notes. Can you be specific about what he said? Tasha's cheeks burned. He said you people always want something for free. And when I told him to stop, he said, with a kid like that, you're probably always in here trying to scam someone. McIntyre looked up briefly, frowning. And then, he shoved my food to the sea. Said he wasn't gonna let me steal. I lost it. I slapped him. I didn't mean to, but I couldn't stand him saying that in front of my daughter. Yvette placed a hand on Tasha's arm, a silent reminder to breathe. McIntyre tapped his pen against the table. Did you attempt to leave the store without paying? No. Tasha's voice cracked. I was still at the register. I wasn't stealing. He nodded slowly. The video shows you striking him. That's not in dispute. What's less clear is what led up to it. Yvette spoke firmly. We will be requesting the store's internal audio and camera footage. I trust the department will cooperate. McIntyre gave a thin smile. We'll look into it. For now, MS. Williams, this will go into a report. The district attorney will decide if charges are appropriate. Tasha felt her heart sink. So what happens to me? Nothing right now, McIntyre said. You'll be notified if further action is taken. Do you have any injuries? No, she whispered. Just I don't know. I can't sleep. My daughter's scared. McIntyre paused, his expression softening just a fraction. I understand this is difficult, but you did the right thing by coming in. When they stepped back into the sunlight, Tasha let out a shaky breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Is that it? Am I safe? Yvette adjusted her sunglasses. For now. But we're not done. I'm going to file a request for the store footage. We'll make sure your side is heard. Tasha felt her eggs tremble. What if they decide to arrest me? Then I'll be there, Yvette said, and we'll fight it. You're not alone. Tasha stared at the pavement, trying to process the whirlwind of emotions: fear, relief, anger. Thank you, she whispered. Go get your daughter, Yvette said gently. Hugged her tight. That's what matters today. Later that afternoon, Tasha waited outside the school, her heart still pounding. When the bell rang, Layla ran out, her smile wide and hopeful. You're you. Tasha dropped to her knees, catching her in a hug so fierce Layla squealed. Of course I'm here, Tasha whispered. Always. As they walked to the car, Layla chattered about art class and a new song she'd learned. Tasha listened, holding her hand tightly, grounding herself in that small, warm palm. When they got home, Tasha made spaghetti with the last of the noodles, humming softly to keep her mind calm. The evening light turned golden, spilling across the table. For a brief moment, the world outside, the threats, the stares, the looming legal fight felt far away. Later, as Layla drifted off to sleep, Tasha sat by the window with her notebook open. She added new lines to the timeline. Friday, 10:00 a.m., meeting with police. Yvette present. Statement taken. Waiting on DA's decision. Still receiving stares, threats. But we're not giving up. She closed the notebook and whispered to the night beyond the glass, you won't take this from me. The weekend crept in heavy and tense, but Tasha refused to let the fear show in front of Layla. Saturday morning, she opened the blinds to a bright sun, birds hopping along the railing of the apartment balcony. It should have felt like an ordinary day, but her phone on the counter was a ticking clock, every vibration sending a jolt through her chest. She poured cereal for Layla, watching her daughter hum a tune as she arranged her toy bunnies in a little line on the table. For a few minutes, there was peace. Then a new notification lit up the screen. Grocery fighter mother speaks out. The words made her stomach flip. She tapped it open against her better judgment. A local news site had published an article about the incident, complete with a grainy still from the viral video. Witnesses say the woman became aggressive after being accused of using fake coupons. The clerk, Luis Ramirez, suffered minor injuries. The mother declined to comment. Tasha scrolled down and saw the comments, each one a punch to the gut. Cashier. Of course, she had her kid with her. They always do. Someone should lock her up. Her breath hitched. She quickly closed the browser, set the phone face down, and turned back to Layla. Now, you can't fall apart now. That afternoon, Maya dropped by again, her presence like a shield against the world. She brought a paper bag with fresh fruit and a box of macaroni. I thought you could use this, she said, setting it on the counter. Tasha hugged her, the weight of gratitude. Mackie. NG, her eyes sting. You didn't have to. Hush. Your family. Maya glanced at Layla, who was coloring quietly at the table. Then she lowered her voice. Listen, I heard something. Louis is telling people you attacked him on purpose. That you're dangerous. Tasha's jaw tightened. What? That's a lie. I know. Maya's eyes flashed. But lies travel fast. He is probably trying to protect himself. Tasha felt her hands trembling. He humiliated me, in front of my baby. And now I'm the one on trial in everyone's eyes. Maya squeezed her shoulder. You have a vet. And you have me. That's not nothing. On Sunday evening, Tasha decided to take Layla to the small park 2 blocks away, hoping some fresh air would help. The park was almost empty, just a few kids on the swings and an older man walking his dog. Layla ran ahead to the slide, her laughter ringing through the cool evening air. Tasha sat on a bench, letting herself breathe just for a moment. Then she heard it, low voices behind. Her. Hey, that's her, isn't it? Yeah, that's the lady from the video. 2 teenage boys walked past, smirking. One of them lifted his phone, pretending to take a selfie but angling it toward Tasha. She felt heat crawl up her neck. She turned away, focusing on Layla's happy face. But the boys didn't stop. Yo, coupon queen, one of them called out. Show us your fake coupons. They burst out laughing, jogging off toward the basketball court. Tasha's hands curled into fists in her lap. He wanted to scream, to run after them, but then Layla came running back, eyes bright. Did you see me go down the slide backwards? Tasha forced a smile, swallowing the anger. I did, baby. That was amazing. But inside, she was shaking. That night, after Layla was asleep, Tasha sat with her notebook again. The pages were filling updates, quotes, descriptions of faces. Yvette had told her it would help, and it did, in a way. It gave her a sense of control. She wrote about the boys in the park, about the article, about the weight pressing on her chest. Then she closed the notebook and stared at the wall. A thought occurred to her, sharp, uninvited. What if they really take you away? What happens to Layla then? Her heart seized. She couldn't let that happen. She wouldn't. She went to the bedroom, watched her daughter sleep, and whispered, "I promise, baby, Mom is not giving up." Monday morning, her phone rang again. "Yvette, Tasha," she said, her voice brisk, "I have news. The store's management has agreed to release the internal footage. I'm going to review it this afternoon. Does that help me?" Tasha asked, gripping the phone. "It could," Yvette said. "If it shows what you described him provoking you, shoving your items, then it strengthens your case." Tasha's knees went weak, and she sank into a chair. "Thank you. I'll call you as soon as I know more," Yvette promised. Later that day, Maya stopped by after work, her hair still tied back from her shift at the diner. She sat on the couch with Tasha, both of them silent for a while, watching Layla build a tower out of old blocks. Finally, Maya spoke. "You know, when I first moved here, I had a boss who used to call me names too. Said I was lucky to even have a job. I used to cry in the bathroom." Tasha looked at her, surprised. Maya rarely spoke about herself. "One day I told him I'd had enough. I thought I was gonna get fired, but I didn't." Maya smiled faintly. "Sometimes standing you, he costs you something, but it also gives you something back." Tasha felt her throat tighten. "I'm scared, Maya. I'm so scared." "I know," Maya said, reaching over to hold her hand. "But you're not weak. Look at you. You're still here. That man didn't break you." That night, Tasha tucked Layla into bed and stayed with her until she fell asleep. Then she stood at the window again, looking out at the quiet street below. A stray cat darted across the road. A siren wailed in the distance. Life went on. Her phone buzzed. A new message from Yvette. "Just watch the footage. It clearly shows him pushing your groceries first. We have leverage now. Call me in the morning." Tasha's heart pounded as she read the words again and again. Relief flooded her eyes with tears. For the first time in days, a real smile crept onto her face. She whispered into the stillness of the night, maybe we're gonna be okay." Monday morning dawned with a cautious optimism. Tasha sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a steaming cup of coffee. The aroma filled the room as small comfort in the swirl of uncertainty that surrounded her. She reread Yvette's message again. "We have leverage now." The phone rang, breaking the silence. It was Yvette. "Tasha, I watched the footage closely. It's clear Louis initiated the physical contact by pushing your groceries. That's a crucial fact for your defense." Tasha's voice trembled with relief. "So what does that mean?" "It means we can argue self-defense and provocation. We're drafting a statement to present to the district attorney. This could make a big difference." Tasha felt a flicker of hope brighten her chest. "Thank you. I don't know how to thank you. Just stay strong. And don't engage with any negativity online. Let me handle that." After the call, Tasha prepared to pick up Layla from school. As she waited near the gates, her mind raced. What if things turned worse? What if the DA still pressed charges? But when Layla appeared, her bright smile melted the worry for a moment. Layla ran to her, holding up a drawing. "Look, I made this for you." It was a crayon picture of the two of them holding hands beneath a big yellow sun. On the bottom, Layla had scribbled, "Mommy is my hero." Tasha blinked back tears. "It's beautiful, baby. I love it." That evening, Maya came over again, this time with a small gift, a framed photo of her own daughter in her. "For you and Layla. So you remember you're not alone." Tasha hugged Maya tightly. "Thank you. You don't know how much this means." Maya smiled. "I do. We all need someone to lean on." Over the next few days, the news continued to stir online. Some people condemned Tasha, others defended her, and many were silent. But the pressure felt like a storm constantly threatening to break. One afternoon, Tasha received a call from the school principal. "We've noticed some bullying incidents involving your daughter. Students have been making comments about the viral video." Tasha's stomach dropped. "Is Layla okay?" "She's been quiet but seems scared. We're increasing supervision and offering counseling if needed." Tasha nodded, fighting tears. "Thank you for letting me know." That night, after Layla was asleep, Tasha sat at her window again. She thought about the road ahead, the court date, the stigma, the fights yet to come. But she also thought about her daughter's drawing, Maya's gift, and the unexpected kindness that had come from strangers and friends alike. She whispered into the night, "We're going to be okay. I promise." The courtroom loomed ahead like a dark cloud that Tasha could neither ignore nor escape. She woke early that day, her stomach churning with nerves and exhaustion. Maya arrived at the apartment just as the sun began to peek over the horizon, bringing with her a quiet strength that Tasha desperately needed. "Ready?" Maya asked, her eyes steady. "As I'll ever be," Tasha replied, straightening her blouse. Y rode in silence, the city's early traffic humming beneath them. When they arrived, Yvette was already waiting, files in hand and a determined look on her face. Inside the courtroom, the air was heavy with tension. Tasha's heart pounded as she sat beside Yvette, watching the judge enter and take his seat. The gallery was filled with faces, some curious, others cold. Tasha spotted a few reporters, cameras ready. The prosecutor stood and began outlining the case, painting Tasha as the aggressor, someone who lost control and lashed out. But then Yvette rose to defend her. She was provoked, Yvette said firmly. The video footage clearly shows the clerk initiating contact by pushing Ms. Williams' groceries. Her reaction was one of self-defense and instinctive response to repeated verbal abuse and physical provocation. Witnesses were called. Some customers who had been in line confirmed hearing the clerk's insults and saw the shove. Slowly, the narrative shifted. Throughout the trial, Tasha felt the weight of judgment but also the strength of support. Her daughter's smiling face from the drawing Maya had brought was tucked in her purse, a reminder of why she fought. After hours of testimony and legal arguments, the judge called a recess. Outside, reporters pressed questions, but Tasha stayed quiet, holding Maya's hand. When the judge returned, the courtroom fell silent. He delivered his verdict carefully. The charges against Tasha would be dismissed, recognizing the mitigating circumstances of provocation and self-defense. A wave of relief crashed over her, tears filling her eyes. Maya squeezed her hand. You did it. You stood your ground. Tasha nodded, overwhelmed. Poor Layla. For me. Outside the courthouse, a small crowd gathered, some offering congratulations, others whispering. Tasha took a deep breath, feeling the weight begin to lift. But even as the fight ended, she knew this was only the beginning of healing. That evening, back in their small apartment, Tasha tucked Layla into bed. Her daughter looked up with sleepy eyes. Mama, did you win? Tasha kissed her forehead. Yes, baby, we won. Layla smiled, then yawned. You're my hero. Tasha held her close, feeling a fierce love that nothing could break. The days following the trial felt surreal, as if Tasha was waking from a long nightmare. She woke slowly, sunlight filtering through the curtains, Layla's soft breathing beside her the sweetest sound in the world. Maya called that morn. How are you holding up? Tasha smiled, a genuine one this time. Letter, I'm tired, but hopeful. That's good to hear, Maya said warmly. You earned it. With the court case behind her, Tasha turned her focus to rebuilding life, not just surviving, but thriving. She applied for better cleaning jobs, hoping for a schedule that would allow more time with Layla. She started setting aside a little money for a small birthday party for her daughter's upcoming 8th birthday. More than that, she began to talk openly with Layla about the challenges they had faced, the unfairness, the hurtful words, but also the strength to stand up and fight. You're so brave, Mama, Layla said one evening as they read a bedtime story. Tasha kissed her daughter's forehead. We're brave together, baby, always. One afternoon, Maya stopped by with an envelope. Inside was a letter from a local community center, an invitation to join a support group for single mothers and women facing a similar struggle. As Tasha's eyes filled with tears, I didn't think I had a community. You do now, Maya said simply. You're not alone. Months passed, and slowly, the shadows that had threatened to consume Tasha's life began to lift. She still faced challenges, stares, whispers, but with Yvette's guidance and Maya's friendship, she felt stronger. She was no longer just a woman fighting alone in a harsh world. She was a mother, a warrior, a survivor. And Layla blossomed, her laughter filling their all apartment with light. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset from their balcony, Tasha held Layla close. Do you know why I fought so hard? She asked softly. Layla looked up, eyes shining. Because you love me. Tasha smiled, tears in her eyes. And because I want you to grow up knowing that no matter what anyone says, you're worth more than their hate. Layla hugged her tight. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby. More than anything.